5 decades of tradition, $1.4 million in prize money, the finest 3-year-old reining horses in the world, and the industry's top professional riders. It's the Lucas Oil NRHA Futurity Open Championship Final from the legendary Jim Norick Arena at State Fair Park in Oklahoma City.
Praise the Lord, it's so fun to be here. It never gets old. I mean, never. It's such a battle to get to go through here on Saturday.
No words can describe that feeling out there.
You never really get rid of those jitterbugs or them butterflies in your stomach.
The NRHA's all-time leading rider Sean Flaherty is still hunting for his record-setting 7th Futurity Championship. 3-time champion Andrea Fapani is riding the horse to beat Tulsa and Congress champion All-American Vintage. Craig Smurfs and Casey Hinton are 20-year veterans of this event, still looking for a first championship. Who will ride away with the $150,000 top prize?
The Western horse was a master of a hard world, pitted for centuries against half-wild bovines, ferocious predators, brutal weather, and the sheer size of the country they had to cover. Their descendants are still nimble, fast, and courageous, with a rock-solid disposition that makes them beloved the world over. In this next half hour, you'll see them in action here on Horse of the West.
The NRHA Futurity is the granddaddy of them all in reining, the first and still the richest and most prestigious event in the sport. This final includes 2 Hall of Fame members.
I've loved it Futurity from day one, so it's just great.
$10 million plus riders and 8 former NRHA Futurity Open champions. It is a truly international field with 7 of 22 riders hailing originally from Italy, Brazil, the Netherlands, Canada, and Germany. All the riders earned a spot here through a prelim and a semi. Cole Price is making his first appearance in the NRHA Futurity Open Final.
No one can really explain to you what it feels like to feel all the vibrations off the crowd. What an honor just to be even in the same competition as all my heroes.
Peter DeFreitas of Leyland, North Carolina has been here only twice, not enough times for the emotion of it to wear off.
Just getting to go in there is a pretty big deal.
Peter gets us started with the 219 on board Double Run Farms Conquistador's Dunnett, an own son of the late Hall of Fame stallion Hollywood Dunnett. Hall of Fame member Sean Flaherty has 2 horses in this final. Here's his first, Gary Ray Smith's Missin' My Tinsel, a mare by NRHA $1 million sire Hollywood's Tinseltown. She was reserve champion at the All-American Quarter Horse Congress Reining Futurity and is one of only 4 mares to make this final.
You know, she run in, stopped, and turned, and then she looked up and said, "Hey, Sean, where's all these people come from?" But, she's a great horse.
He just has to get used to greatness, right?
or people. I might want to take her to a parade or something.
Despite a little stage fright and some trouble on one rollback, Missin' My Tinsel earns a 220 from the judges to move into first.
She's been good for me all year, so I went back and gave her a big hug and can't wait to show her again.
Sean will be back on his second horse, but now here's Franco Bertolani, a Brazilian native who is head trainer at Cardinal Ranch in Aubrey, Texas. Franco is riding a Cardinal-owned stallion named Masked Gun by Gunner, NRHA Hall of Fame member and $9 million sire. This is one of the horses to watch in this final. He marked the highest score in the prelims with a 224. Franco came to the U.S. just 5 years ago. He's made the Open Final the last 4 years. He's been reserve champion twice, still hoping for that first outright championship. He takes the lead with the 222 and says he's learned to just show his horses and let come what may.
I think my horse is really good today. He was really fresh. I think I warmed up really good. I just tried to show too hard because this is a hard show and those penalties come right away. So I try to do the best I can and like I said, what's coming.
Here's another Brazilian, Eduardo Salgado, who's now based in Gainesville. He's riding Got a Shiny Diamond, a mare owned by Bobby Lewis and sired by NRHA $1 million sire Spook's Got a Whiz. They mark a 220, which will earn them a paycheck, but won't change the scoreboard.
How about your reaction? You were hoping for a little bit more.
Yeah, I love this mare. She's little, but the heart is really, really bigger. She's special.
Former Open Futurity champion and $2 million rider Dwayne Latimer is a Canadian now based in Aubrey, Texas. He's up next on another son of Hollywood Dunnett. Roxanne Kopsel's Done It Shiny son out of the mare Shining and Sassy, who herself won this event back in 2008.
He's out of a futurity champion mama, you know, and he's a Hollywood Done It, which is not very many of them, and he's been solid here. You know, I marked I think a 21, a 20 and a half, and a 20, so I was really happy with him.
It's kind of cool. Hollywood Done It. They're 2 in this final. You know, still having an impact.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that something? All these years later, and he's been gone for quite a few years now, and I mean, it just tells you how good a sire he was, you know.
A 220 in the final for Dwayne, and Done It's Shiny son will slide them into a 3-way tie for second. Todd Bergen of Eagle Point, Oregon would have to be considered the Iron Man of the horse world. He's an NRHA $2 million rider and the only rider who's been able to consistently make the open finals of both the National Reining Horse Association and the National Reined Cowhorse Association Futurities. He just finished showing 3 horses at the NRCHA Snafflebit Futurity in Fort Worth.
Hey, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah, a few energy drinks and power bars here and there, but no, I enjoy it. You know, yeah, I've had a good year with my futurity horses. I took 3 to Fort Worth and got them on the finals, brought 2 here, got them in the finals, so I'm pretty happy.
Todd earns a 219.5 on board Lena's Shining Gun by NRHA $1 million sire Gunner's Special Night. Now here's the horse a lot of people have been waiting to see, All-American Vintage, who just won the All-American Quarter Horse Congress with that huge score of 232.5. He's a stallion by NRHA $1 million sire, a Sparkling Vintage, and since the Congress, he's been purchased by Kawogi Reining Horses USA. These two marked a 222.5 in the semi, but they lose a point a judge on a late lead change, which means they have to settle for a 224.5.
Oh, this is a great horse. You know, we've had a little bubble in the middle there. I didn't ask him for the lead change. I've been schooling him because the second go, he was leaning a little bit towards the gate, so I've been schooling him, but keeping him to the right. And when I asked him for the lead change, it was about a stride delayed, so we had a little penalty there. But this horse has been great. I mean, he's been showing hard already as a 3-year-old. Won Tulsa, won the Congress, and stepped up the game. I know after that little 1-point penalty, we needed to step it up. I asked him for everything he had, and he was right there with me.
Trevor Dare is making his second appearance in the NRHA Futurity Open Final, and the new is definitely not worn off for him.
It's amazing. It's a dream come true for us almost every time we get to do it.
Trevor's based in Purcell, Oklahoma, at Extra Quarter Horses, where this stallion was bred and foaled. His name is Extra Done Step, and he's by NRHA Hall of Fame member and $9 million sire Wimpy's Little Step. Both father and son are now owned by Silver Spurs Equine.
I call him the little pony that could. All year long we've loved him and he's been one of my favorites, but we just weren't sure if he was going to have enough to come here and step up to this kind of a stage, and sure enough, this was just like his time. He stepped through for me.
He did indeed, earning a 222.5 from the judges, which will move Trevor and Extra Done Step past Franco Bertolani and into second place. Andrea Fapani and All-American Vintage hold on to first with that 224.5, but still to come, the leading rider and 6-time champion Sean Flarida on a son of the horse he rode to victory in this arena back in 2002. And 2 veteran riders who could be poised to pick up a first victory here at the NRHA Futurity Open Final, Casey Hinton and Craig Smurfs. We'll have the exciting outcome when we come back on Horse of the West.
You're watching Horse of the West on RFDTV, presented by the Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back to Horse of the West, coming to you from Oklahoma City in the National Reining Horse Association Futurity Open Championship Final. Andrea Fapani and All-American Vintage are still in the lead with a 224.5. Trevor Dare and Extra Done Step are in second with Franco Bertolani and Masked Gun in third. Casey Hinton of Whitesboro, Texas gets the crowd fired up with a gorgeous run on the stallion Mega Mag, owned by Casey and his wife Kathy, sired by NRHA Hall of Fame member and $4 million sire Magnum Chick Dream. Casey's been reserve champion here but never won the Futurity Open title outright. The crowd senses Casey might have the horse to take the lead as he lays down a nice run, but he and Mega Mag drag a lead, which leaves him with the 220.5. After a moment of agony, Casey turns philosophical.
There's nothing more special than Saturday night, you know, the Open Finals at Oklahoma City. It's so electric, and it feels so great out there. And, you know, like, I knew I was having the run, and it's a high stakes game, you know, and you got to take some risk, you know, to get it. And so It's not as easy as it looks from sitting up there as the armchair quarterbacks, but it's so addictive. What a sport.
It's a pair of 219s for a couple of international riders. Maury Fisk, a Canadian based in France, riding Sabine Schmid's My Dream Gun by Chick Smoking Gun.
I just enjoyed every minute of it. You know, the biggest thing was just to ride around with all my mentors out there. That was just the icing on the cake right there. I've been watching them all the time for years and years, and just to warm up with all those guys was just, for me, I just enjoyed the ride.
And it's a 219 for Ruben Van Dorp, a native of the Netherlands based in Texas, on a son of Spooks Got a Whiz, owned by Ruben and his wife Melissa, named Il Capo.
Being in the finals is always awesome. There's no better feeling. The horse definitely felt the crowd and the energy. He was a little like, oh, what's going on here? But he settled back in, checked in with me every time. I had one little penalty, and other than that, I was tickled pink with him.
$3 million rider Craig Smurfs has 2 horses qualified for this final. Both are sired by Paleface Dunnet, a stallion co-owned by the Smurfs and Silver Spurs Equine. This one is a stallion named Paleface Gunslinger, owned by Tim Anderson. They mark a 221.5, and Craig is off to get his other horse ready just 4 draws from now. Casey Deary is a $1 million rider and a 2-time NRHA Futurity Open champion. He's up next on Rhodes River Ranch's Tinker with Dreams by Tinker with Guns, out of the nice show mare This Chick's Done Dreamin' that Casey rode.
You know what? They seem to show a lot alike. Physically, they're both really big circling horses. His mother and this colt are both big circling horses. It's been fun to be able to follow the family.
That's what I was going to ask you. I mean, it's good. It's kind of fun at this point in your career when you start to ride the grandkids. You know?
Exactly. That means I'm getting old.
Well, I wasn't going to say that.
You implied it. Nice.
Sean Flaherty is also on the son of a horse he rode to greatness. This is Mr. Minnesota Star by Wimpy's Little Step, 2002 champion of this event. The score to beat is still that 224.5 of Andrea Fapani and All-American Vintage. Sean says this horse is just a bit on the lazy side.
So, managing his energy is more difficult than some. It takes very little riding. So when you get on him, do your work, and you got to kind of get away from him, but just got to understand him from a horseman's standpoint.
A 222.5 will move Sean and Mr. Minnesota Star into a tie for second with Trevor Dare. Sean says he hopes he'll get to continue showing this nice stallion owned by George and Carol Bell.
As long as they let me have him in my barn, I'm happy.
You just take him home, put him in the barn, hope he stays in.
I'm hoping George didn't bring his trailer.
Dwayne Latimer is back on Gee Whiz Gus by Invisible.
I actually bought him as a long yearling for about $7,500. So he's been a very nice horse for me. Yeah.
Bargain basement.
It was a good bargain, and so I was, he was real cute, and so I thought, it was worth a try.
Sure was. A 220 from the judges for Gee Whiz Gus will earn a paycheck of $22,000. Pretty good payoff for a $7,500 horse. One rider left to go now, Craig Smurfs on Face the Attitude, owned by the Smurfs' Hickory Creek Ranch. Craig has only missed the finals once since 1995, but he has never had a win here at the Level 4 Open Championship. After some words of wisdom from friend and fellow NRHA professional Mike McIntyre, Craig heads through the famed Gateway of Champions and into the arena, knowing he has enough horse to challenge for the lead. He needs a 225 or better to win it. Craig drew last in 2016, but he did not get the run he needed. This year he focuses on being clean and trusting his mare for the rest. As the run builds, the crowd senses this could be the one. The mare makes her last stop, and Craig rides out of the arena to wait for his score.
Score 4, Face the Attitude, and Craig Smurfs. $226.
She I knew that mare, she was getting better all week. I had a little bit of trouble in the
Oh, there's going to be no interviews.
We'll head to Scottsdale to get some thoughts from Craig about his win, what it means, and what NRHA legend Bob Loomis, 6-time Futurity champion, told Craig about this mare a week before the Futurity final when we come back.
You're watching Horse of the West on RFDTV, presented by the Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Horse of the West photographer-producer Chris Cook was there as Craig Smurfs took his first ride on Face the Attitude after her return home to Scottsdale from Oklahoma City. Nicknamed Ariel after the Disney princess, the 3-year-old daughter of Paleface Dunnett provided Craig a fairy tale ending for his earliest life aspiration, winning the NRHA Open Futurity.
Since I was 10 years old, that's what I wanted to do.
It was a long time coming.
The first time I made the Open Finals was in 1995. I missed one time since then, and then I showed in maybe 2 futurities before that. So whatever that is, that seems like a lot.
Going into the 2017 NRHA Futurity Open Final, Craig knew the mare was special, but thought the stallion he showed 4 horses earlier, Paleface Gunslinger, was actually stronger. When the stud marked a 221.5, he knew it was down to the princess. Friend and fellow professional Mike McIntyre told Craig the mare could do it as he left the makeup pen. A week earlier, NRHA Hall of Fame member Bob Loomis had also confided to the Smurfs how special he thought she was.
He said, no, if I owned that mare, no amount of money would ever buy her for me. So
you did good by him.
Yeah, that old guy knows some stuff. Yeah. So I knew going in there that I had, you know, a fair shot of doing it. So, but I always think I have a fair shot. It just doesn't always work out. You know, I think those horses I ride, I believe in, and I've always believed in that mare. And I was more worried about me executing than that mare messing up somewhere. I think after the last stop, after I heard everybody cheering, that's when I got a little bit like, I thought I may have, you know, so I hurried up and got out of there because I didn't want to have an accident in the middle of the pen with everybody watching.
Instead you did it in front of my camera.
Yeah, instead I went right in front of that stupid camera and did it, but.
Craig knew he needed a 225 or better to win, but that wasn't what he was thinking about at first.
You know, I just knew that mare was fantastic, and I also knew I knew that mare gave me everything that she had. So whether I won or not, that mare was, you know, she laid it on the line.
Seeing him hug that mare right out, you know, when they called the score, I mean, that's just that's a man I know. So I was happy that the rest of the world got to see the man that I know with his horses. So that was cool.
When the announcer announced the score, everybody started jumping up and down, and I ran off and I jumped over the fence, and luckily I didn't trip and you didn't have that on the camera, but I ran over and Craig was crying and I started crying, and it was special.
For me, it just was never that big of a deal to me, but it was to Craig. So for me, to see him finally achieve that was awesome. But for me, I love him either way. It didn't matter to me.
And we've had some people say if you ever decide to sell her, to let us know. I sure would like to show her next year, and I think that would be my ultimate, you know, plan to put more earnings on that mare. But you know, for me, mostly I just want the babies out of that mare. I mean, she's proved herself. So, I mean, that's our goal, is just to keep her and to raise the babies and hopefully get more like her.
The Smurfs raised their older boys, Nick and Chris, in the Reining family, and they intend to do the same for their 2 youngest, Addie and Brendan.
Our kids love it too much. I don't see us going anywhere, and we do too.
Especially now, right?
Yeah, now it's really awesome.
We have a newfound love.
Yeah. And just the feedback that we've gotten and just the amazing emails and text messages and phone calls and, everything.
People we don't even really know, complete strangers, reaching out and saying nice things about the mare and the run, and it was quite humbling.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable, something we will never forget this, this ever.
Addie said to me last night, she said, "I still can't believe you won."
I know, she did, when we talked to her last night.
Sometimes I don't know how to take that.
Yeah.
There hadn't been a day gone by where I haven't teared up.
No, me neither. I didn't think we could cry anymore, but we still
I've completely ruined my macho image.
You're watching Horse of the West on RFDTV, presented by the Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Coming up in the weeks ahead on Horse of the West, coverage of the NRHA Cinch Non-Pro Futurity, the Northeast Breeders' Trust Futurity, and the NRHA Futurity Invitational Freestyle.